You're listening to the Plane Talking UK podcast, the UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carl Stebbings and Matt Smith.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 114 of the Plane Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings, and joining me in my kitchen studio this week is my co-host, the master of all things caravan, Matt Smith.
There's no need for that, is there? Oh dear, we were just talking off air. When I finish this, I've got some work to do on my new caravan that we've bought.
Yes, Matt has joined the elite caravan club.
Yes, I've officially become middle-aged, everyone. I'm officially now old.
So he'll be the one who's driving along the road, holding you up at a steady 50 miles per hour.
How rude. How very, very rude. Yes, but that is, all the rumours are entirely true, yes. But I spent my entire life holding everyone up. I drive a coach for a living.
So Matt, as you probably can or might be able to tell from Matt's voice and his coughing and snivelling, Matt's got one of those cold things again.
Yes,
again.
No, I like. Well, you see, this is the sideline to carrying around snotty children all day. Oh. You see, they will bring germs. You see,
wonderful.
Germs
so that means that this week I'll be ill at work.
Yes,
cold.
Absolutely. But it's all right.
Joy.
You're on early. You're on your
the
favourite
joy.
shift. It'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen?
So you join us then on the 28th of May.
Yes.
It's 11 minutes past 10 in the morning.
Yep.
And yes, we are here for episode 114. And we've got loads of news this week. We've got a segment from Pip as well. And we've got the chat room is filling up nicely. We've got some listeners from way across the pond.
We have.
Good morning to Ray Davis, Dave Abbey, and in the UK here, Dan Hannington, our master photographer. Dan Hannington is in the chat room.
I presume he
will
be at the air shows.
Yeah, hopefully he will. Yeah, Dan will. Yeah, we have got a bit of news just before we start that. Unfortunately, due to work commitments, we won't be able to attend tomorrow's Bruntingthorpe Cold War Jets Day.
It's my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, it's Matt. Actually, I'll say it. It's Matt's fault.
It's my fault.
Because of Matt, we won't be attending tomorrow's Bruntingthorpe Cold War Jets Day.
I've got to go to work.
Oh, Dan's got a dash.
Has he?
Oh, goodbye, Dan. We said hello to Dan. He's now dashing
but on
off.
the plus side, good morning, Graham.
Graham Haley. Yes. Hello, Graham.
So humble apologies.
Yes, humble apologies to all.
I never normally work on a Sunday, and it serves me right for not checking in advance, really, doesn't it? But there we are. Never mind. Yeah, it's all part of the fun. Yes,
Matt.
We're going to try again in August.
Oh no, we'll try. Yeah. Matt sent me his roster for his work this last weekend, and I looked at it and cried.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we've got lots of other shows to go to.
Maybe if we chat them nicely, you can still come and have a look at all the TriStars. If we
Well, we have spoken to, we have talked to some of the people there. So hopefully we'll still get to visit Bruntingthorpe and speak to some of the people there at some point during this year.
Yes. So yes, Dave. In answer to your question in the chat room, yes, I am driving tomorrow. Yes, which is why I sound full of cold, because rules are very strict here in the UK, and you can't take certain medications when you're driving it out. So I just have to sort of ride it out, essentially.
Yeah. He's only had 16 paracetamol.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Currently, I'm feeling fabulous. I really am feeling fabulous.
He's hard as a kite.
Indeed, but that's not why people are listening. They're listening here to hear some stories.
Dave Abbey's put what did Carl call
not
it?
Bonk
off. No, it's not.
Family show, everyone.
It's not bonk off at all, honestly.
Right, okay.
It's
good.
Bunk off.
Bunk off.
In the UK, or skive. Skive's another one. Skive off. I love to bunk off work.
No, you never do it, do you?
No, never do it. No, I'm a good boy. Good boy.
Anyway.
Some of our listeners, on the other hand, are not so good. Talking about bunking off and skiving off work, I'm going to give a quick hello and mention to Jason Rowe, who listens to the show. He's one of our newest listeners.
Right.
Jason listens to the show. He wrote the book on bunking off and skiving. So hello to you, Jason.
What?
He'll see me at work next week.
Yes, I bet you will, with a baseball bat by the sound of it. Right, anyway, and enough of this. It is time to get stuck into it. So if you are ready then, Carl.
Let's start our show then, as we do each week, with our rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK. So if you're ready, Flu Matt.
I was born... Flu Matt, yeah. I was born ready.
Let's go. So kicking off this week's first news story then on the Breaking Travel news site. And the headline, Lufthansa extends NetJet's private flight option for luxury passengers. For the past 11 years, Lufthansa, the German airline, has been offering its passengers exclusive travel by private aircraft and customized flight schedules with Lufthansa Private Jet. Due to the success of the premium service, the airline has now extended its strategic alliance by 5 years with NetJets, the world's largest provider of private jet flights.
Cool.
Jens Bischoff, Executive Vice President of Lufthansa Sales, said that Lufthansa Private Jet has established itself in the market as an integral part of the premium service, and it's a perfect fit with our goal to be the first 5-star airline in the Western world. We are therefore delighted to continue the fruitful cooperation with our partner NetJets in the coming years. Lufthansa Private Jet operates more than 1,000 flights a year. The service complements the first-class service of Lufthansa Group within Europe and North America. Passengers often use these flights to travel to and from the Lufthansa and Swiss first-class international intercontinental routes, an option that is only available from Lufthansa. Lufthansa Private Jet offers passengers high level of flexibility in terms of time. The flights are available at a short notice of up to 10 hours before departure in Europe and 12 hours before departure in North America. There are more than 1,000 destinations to choose from. Passengers can choose between a small size, mid-size or large size aircraft, depending on the number of passengers and route. And the airfares vary accordingly. Lufthansa Private Jet passengers have access to the first-class terminal in Frankfurt and to an all Lufthansa and Swiss first-class lounge worldwide. A limousine service also is at the hub at Frankfurt, Munich, Düsseldorf and Zurich, and it's all part of the service as a VIP treatment, and it's also available at the major North American airports. Lufthansa Private Jet also offers limousine services from your home and directly or office directly to the aircraft.
That is the way to do it, though, isn't it? Get picked up by limousine to then be taken to your plane.
That
to
is
then
nice.
Get your first class plane, and away you go. It's just.
It's good. Etihad offer that with their. Do you remember that we talked about in previous shows? Etihad have that the residence.
Yes.
Where you have your own suite on board the big A380, the big jumbo,
Really?
The double decker Airbus.
How does that even work?
And they have part of the thing, because you obviously pay about £20,000 for a one-way ticket. That you have a limousine service pick you up from your home and take you to the airport, and you have your own dedicated security lane and everything.
Oh, blimey. Well, sorry, Dave just... I was being distracted by the chat room because Dave just put... airfares vary from super expensive to... If you have to ask the question, you can't afford it. Yeah, absolutely, which is very
very true, Dave.
It is
very true.
Absolutely. So, if you just like to turn my microphone down for a brief second.
Hold on. Matt's going to sneeze. There we go. He's just filling the kitchen studio with all his germs. Lovely.
Thank you. There we go. I wasn't there. So, if I'm going to read the next story, I probably ought to
have a cough,
not have a frog in my throat. So,
the next story?
The next story, and as always, story 2 is a Ryanair story. Now, there is a rather horrific video to go with this, which I will only play a small amount of in just a moment. But the headline from the Daily Mail online is this the most entertaining flight ever? I think the short answer is no. Tap dancers surprised Ryanair passengers with an improvised swing routine at 35,000 feet. Some passengers were brave enough to get out of their seats and join. The group performed improvised shim sham while flying from Vilnius, to Milan. And a 3-minute routine was captured on camera and posted on YouTube. So Ryanair's passenger cabins have a famous reputation for being cramped, but it turns out they're actually large enough to hold a dance party. A swing dance troupe proved this when they surprised passengers with a toe-tapping routine at 35,000 feet. Some passengers were brave enough to jump out of their seats and join the group and flight attendants for an improvised shim-sham as the plane...
A shim-sham?
Shim-sham, yes, absolutely. It's a legitimate phrase. As the plane... It must be legitimate. It's in the Daily Mail. I mean, come on. As the plane flew from Vilnius in Lithuania to Milan in Italy. And I think that's more. As you said, the 3-minute routine was captured on camera and posted on YouTube by the Milan-based dance group called Golden Swing Society. One of the members made an announcement over the tannoy before the music kicked in, and the group began dancing in the aisles of the Boeing 737.
Oh, go down. It says, where is it there? Up a little bit. There we go. Keep going.
Yeah.
Passengers. Oh wait, I just wanted to see how the passengers reacted to it. But
I see. Right, yeah. No, there's no thing. So, as a little bit of a treat for you, I'm only going to play a little bit of it because I think all 3 minutes will be enough for people to lose their mind. But so we'll just play a little bit of this for you, and we'll talk about it in just a moment.
Hello, I hope you enjoy your flight. This is a message for all dancer, all swing dancer. It's Shishan time!
Dancing in the aisles, basically. I think you get. They look like they're having fun, don't they?
I have to say, some of the people sitting in, for those of you watching us on YouTube, will have seen the video playing out there. Some of the people sitting in the seats look happy. Some of them look like they'd rather be swallowing a wasp.
Indeed, absolutely.
It's an interesting story, I will say. Improve a flight.
I'm not sure. You see, if somebody started doing that on a Ryanair flight that I was stuck on, I think I'd probably start randomly punching people because I can't think of. I'd have been arrested by the end of it. 'Cause it's just, I like that sort of music, but not over a hideously tinny tannoy. I do have a real thing about.
Graham Haley in the chat room has put that.
Agreed.
I think he would be. I would have been looking for an emergency exit.
Very much. Abort, get out while you still can. I can't think of anything worse. They just look so happy. I don't like anybody that has that much enthusiasm for life. Do you know what I mean?
What would have been great?
Trust anyone.
What would have been great would be to see that the first officer and captain to come out from the flight deck also dancing.
No, absolutely not. Not if they're at 35,000 feet. Thank you very much. I want everybody with their hands on the controls, pretty much.
Jacob Darlington Brown has just joined us in the chat room. He said he's just tuned in and saw some random people singing and dancing.
I'm just checking if I click the right show. Yes,
you're on the right show.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Yes,
Jacob,
it's all right.
Don't worry.
But
no, I almost could envisage seeing sort of warm paninis being thrown around.
Really?
And if they had some plates, they could smash those.
Right.
I mean,
they're not flying to Greece.
No,
absolutely. Oh, posters here.
Yeah. It's interesting to say the least. I think that kind of in-flight entertainment would probably
wrong. Absolutely not.
Actually,
no, right now, you see, there was a lot. I mean, the line. Here we go. Brace yourself, everyone. I'm off on one. We had. Seriously, like, if you are the pilot, I mean, I know if I have people who are bouncing around when I'm driving my coach.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it does
the
make a
changes
difference
in the way that it sort of moves around. I mean, basically, the entire aisle was full of people leaping around and dancing. I mean, how would that have felt as far as the pilot was concerned? I mean, would they been in danger?
No, it doesn't. Danger is not the thing. I mean, the aircraft when it's flying on autopilot, the aircraft can trim itself. It's got auto trim. It'll trim the aircraft to keep it level.
Even a Ryanair one.
Even a Ryanair.
Blimey.
You would feel a slight kind of shift if 100 people move from the front. But I think this is just a few people standing in the aisles dancing, so it's not going to be a huge issue.
Yeah, well, Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, if you do that on a flight that I will start punching you.
I think if me and you go to Malta in September for the air show, I think we should take some of the PA gear and do karaoke on the air.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
For those of you in the chat room,
I shall be far too busy gripping onto the armrests for dear life, frankly.
For those of you in the chat room who think me and Matt should do a karaoke live on a Ryanair flight, send your answers in to podcast@planetalkinguk.com.
No. Here we go. I would guess on the centre line, you wouldn't notice as people are moving forward or backwards, the centre of gravity wouldn't change much. Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, yes. Good morning to David Corsten. He's joined us. He's at work. He's breaking all the rules at work and watching the live show.
That's
morning,
good.
David.
No, that's good.
That's good. We like that.
We actively encourage
that.
Like that. Yes, absolutely.
So moving on to the next story
yes.
is on the breaking travel news site again. And the headline, Malaysia Airlines grows fleet with 2 new Airbus A350-900s. So Malaysia Airlines has exercised the lease option for a 12-year lease agreement for an additional 2 brand new Airbus A350-900s with Air Lease Corporation. The transaction is pursuant of the option provided under the existing lease agreement for the 4 A350-900s signed by both parties in September last year. Malaysia Airlines Berhad Chief Executive Christoph Muller said the additional 2 Airbus A350-900s will complement the existing 4 that are on order to reach a critical fleet size, allowing standby aircraft for any scheduled maintenance and enabling future network expansion. Technology and innovative enhancements make flying the aircraft a real pleasure, and it will bring a whole new experience to our offerings with the aircraft available and able to operate non-stop from Kuala Lumpur to London and throughout Asia. Muller added that we are very pleased to partner with Air Lease Corporation again on this strategic transaction. And powered by the Rolls-Royce Trent XWB-84 engines, the A350 aircraft are from ALC's order book with Airbus and will be delivered in 2018. ALC couldn't be more pleased to place these 2 additional aircraft with Malaysia Airlines, Berhad said. In addition to the 4 A350-900s placed by ALC last year, where we are confident these 2 additional A350-900 aircraft will further maximise Malaysia Airlines' business operations as well as global growth, said Stephen Udvar Hazi, Air Lease Corporation chairman. Good news then. Well, definitely good news for Airbus anyway. Another 2.
I've actually because that's who I flew to Australia. That's who I flew to New Zealand with was with Malaysia Airlines. And I had a really nice they really looked after me actually. So I'm quite pleased that they're sort of, off the back of they've had a couple of bad incidences, haven't they? That weren't their fault, to be fair, but quite pleased to sort of see that they might be coming out the other side of it.
It's good. It's good news. It's good to see. I like to see lots of new aircraft being brought into service.
Absolutely.
Even if they are Airbus. Anyway, moving on to the next story.
Right, okay. Yes, the next story. This is on the Mail Online again. And the headline is Armed Police Forced to Intervene at Gatwick Airport after passengers fight at gate as tensions boil over a cancellation of flight. This is a pretty awful story, to be honest. And it goes along the lines of armed police were forced to intervene after a fight broke out between passengers at Gatwick Airport on Thursday, according to an eyewitness. The flyer, the flyer was has described the moment. There was an altercation between 2 groups of passengers who were waiting to board the Boeing 737 to Palma in Mallorca. The incident took place after Norwegian Air flight Delta 82426 was cancelled while passengers waited at the gate. They had earlier been told that their flight would be delayed by 2 hours. It's Jim Holder, who was travelling to the Spanish Isle for a holiday with his young family, told Mail Online Travel that after heated arguments, a fight broke out at the gate between passengers. Around 180 flyers were then escorted back through security to collect their luggage and told to head to the Norwegian desks. There they were grouped together with a similar number of passengers from another Norwegian flight out to Madrid that had also been cancelled. Neither the Norwegian or Gatwick staff had organised anything nor knew what to do, Mr. Holder said. This is when the armed police were called in to keep the peace as frustrated passengers were faced with inactivity and no communication from staff. Sussex Police have confirmed officers were dispatched to the terminal to deal with any fights. A spokesperson told Mail Online Travel that the police were called to the South Terminal at Gatwick Airport at 11:30 p.m. on Thursday, the 26th of May, to a report of a group of people fighting. When police attended, there had been a minor altercation between two men and two women from two groups of travellers unknown to each other. No one was injured and no one was arrested, but all parties were spoken to. Police officers are routinely armed at Gatwick for security reasons. They will also attend routine incidents when they are called to do so. 41-year-old journalist Mr. Holder then claims airline and airport staff hid upstairs behind check-in desks to avoid the customers. It goes without saying that seeing people slugging it out is pretty unsettling when you have children, and likewise the arrival of armed police when arguments turn heated. He said that his family were among the first to leave the airport at around 1:30 a.m. this morning. This was on Friday morning, but added that he suspected many left much later. The flight is now scheduled to fly out of Gatwick Airport tonight. This was on Friday, around about 8:30. Mail Online have contacted Gatwick Airport and Norwegian Air, for comment, but no response as yet. I mean, it's not a great story, really. Let's be honest. But you see, that I do take some issue with this, and I had a similar experience. I know it's not airline travel, but in my case, it was with Abellio, Greater Anglia, because I was travelling back when I was coming back from London, and all the trains got cancelled. And I do think it's very unfair that you leave. I'm quite glad that they were. I don't blame them for hiding upstairs, frankly, if that element is true. Because if they haven't been given the information to give to the passengers, passengers can be incredibly rude, frankly. Certainly with the experience I had. I mean, it was all kicking off there, and they were being really horrible to this guy. And it's just like, the guy had no information, and so they were really shouting at him. And it's like, well, it's not his fault that it's all gone horribly wrong. I mean, I'm very surprised that Norwegian didn't sort of say that they'd had a problem with the aircraft, or they, weather or something like that. I mean, we don't even know why they were cancelled at this stage, do we?
No, I know. It's terrible just reading that as well, listening to you talk about that, is that things have to go to that level over something, such as the delay. I mean,
Yeah.
if there was fights breaking out every day because of a delayed flight or a cancelled flight, the airports would be chaos because there'd be fights everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely everywhere, all over the shop. Yeah, it's crazy, really. I don't know what the it's just lack of information makes people angry.
But they were flying. It says it here they were going to Palma, Mallorca. So I would imagine they'd probably had a few beers pre-flight. We've talked about that before.
Sherbet lemons beforehand.
Sherbet lemons, yeah exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next
indeed.
story, which is a pitch one. Matt will put these up in a minute. On Flight Global's site, and the headline: Air Austral takes first 787 Dreamliner. Reunion as Air Austral has taken delivery of its first Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, becoming the first French operator to take the type. The Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 powered aircraft is scheduled to land at Roland Garros Airport in Sainte-Marie, Reunion Island on the 25th of May. That was this week, look. The state-of-the-art 787 Dreamliner's unique capabilities enable us to launch the oh, blimey, this is a hard one to pronounce, Matt. I should have given this story to you.
No.
Zaudi. I think you don't pronounce a D, so I'm going to guess it's Zaudi to Paris Charles de Gaulle route, says Marie-Joseph Mail, Executive Chairman and Chief Executive at Air Austral. The airline announced an order for two 787-8s in 2015, says Boeing. Flight Global's Fleets Analyzer database shows that the carrier has 8 aircraft in service, comprising of 3 777-300ERs and 3 737s and 2 ATR-72s. The airline also apparently cancelled the 2 Airbus A380s it had on order earlier this year. There we go, the picture on the screen there of the Air Austral Dreamliner with quite a busy tail there.
Indeed,
a lot of colour going on in that tail there.
If you make it too busy, I mean, you're not going to be able to see it really, really far away, are you? I mean, it just looks a bit noisy, doesn't it? I think.
I was actually going to find out some info.
Yes.
On the airline in question itself. Air Austral is headquartered in St. Marie and Reunion Island. Founded in 1987, has a fleet size of 8 aircraft, including this new Dreamliner that's been brought in here. It's got the 737s they do have are the 300 series, so they're quite old ones. And they've got some ATR 72-500s. They have a route destination size of 14 destinations, so fairly small. It's a fairly small airline, but founded in 1975. Air Austral.
Wow.
So there we go, a bit of info on the airline there.
Indeed.
So moving on to the next story
Yes,
breaking news, this one.
Ooh, breaking news. And whose go is it? Is it me?
It's you.
Is it? Okay, so this is
Vietjet.
Vietjet places an 11... See, when I first read it, I thought that was Virgin, but it isn't, is it?
No, it's Vietjet.
Vietjet places an $11.3 billion order for 100 737 MAX aircraft with Boeing. Which is quite a big order, isn't it?
A small order.
Indeed. So Vietjet, I've never heard of them. Please, find me some stats immediately.
Yes.
Vietjet and Boeing have finalised an order for 100 737 MAX 200 aircraft, the largest ever commercial aircraft purchase in Vietnam's aviation history. Tran Dai Quang, President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam and US President Barack Obama, witnessed the historic agreement, which has been valued at approximately 11.3 billion US dollars.
Blimey.
The signing ceremony conducted at Vietjet, President Nguyen T. Pyong Thao and Boeing Commercial Airlines President Ray Connor, see, that's a nice easy name to pronounce, isn't it? Took place at the Presidential Palace in Hanoi. The 737 MAX incorporates the latest CFM International LEAP 1B engines and advanced winglets to deliver efficiency, reliability and passenger comfort. The new single-aisle aircraft has a 40% smaller noise footprint than today's single-aisle airplanes and will deliver 20% less fuel consumption than the previous generation 737. Boeing is proud again to play an integral role in advancing Vietnam's aviation industry. We're honoured to be joined by President Tran Dai Quang and President Obama for this historic milestone and the order of 100 737 MAX airlines, says Connor, incorporating the latest design and technology features. The highly efficient 737 MAX will provide Vietjet's growing network with market-leading economics, a superior passenger experience, and contribute significantly to their future success. Boeing will begin delivery of the aircraft in 2019 to be completed by 2023, which will help Vietjet to expand its domestic and international network and increase the fleet to 200. So it's a serious expansion.
It's a serious order for Boeing. I mean, that's huge. The Vietjet, their hubs are in Tan Son Nhat International Airport and Noi Bay International Airport in Vietnam.
That's what she said.
And
thank you very much.
And the fleet size of 35.
I'm here all day.
I know. Their company slogan is Bay La Thi Nhang, which is enjoy flying.
Right, okay.
I know,
so it's a tagline you should like.
I'm fluent with the language there, as you can probably tell.
Yes, absolutely.
They were commenced operations. Actually, they're quite a relatively new airline. They commenced operations on 25th of December 2011.
Oh, blimey.
It's fairly new.
But
they were founded in 2007, but didn't start operations till 2011.
Right, okay.
Fleet-wise, they are... here we go. Fleet-wise, Airbus, mostly Airbus. But with this Boeing order, it's obviously going to be it'll be a nearly all Boeing airline by the end of by the time they get all these aircraft from them.
Well, we said it before. It seems to make sense if I never really understand why a lot of these airlines have multiple types
of aircraft.
Do you know what I mean? Because you just think you're having to carry more spares. Of different, you can have one sort of spare that fits all, especially like with most of Ryanair's fleet, for example, being 737-800s, isn't it? I mean, they're more or less the and say, what are you laughing at?
No, I'm just reading what Dave Abbey's put in the chat room.
What's it? I'll order a pizza now, delivery in 2024. Yes, I like
Yeah.
pizza. Pizza is good.
Pizza's good.
Yes, indeed.
Next story on Flight Global's site. Headline, Korean Air 777 evacuated after engine fire. This one's a fairly new story for this week. The Boeing 777-300 operated by Korean Air was evacuated via slides after flames were detected in one of the jet's Pratt & Whitney PW4090 engines. The aircraft was taxiing at Tokyo's Haneda Airport and was operating flight KE 2708 to Seoul, Gimpo, when the incident occurred. The plane was taxiing for takeoff when a flame was detected from the engine. I think that's a fire, really, because flames, the flame detector. From the engine number one, says Korean Air. The takeoff was immediately cancelled. All 302 passengers and 18 crew were evacuated using the aircraft slides. Media footage show the aircraft resting on the taxiway with slides deployed while emergency services sprayed foam all over the left wing. The footage of the aircraft indicates that its registration is Hotel Lima 7534. Flight Global's Ascends Fleets database shows that the aircraft was delivered to Korean Air in December 1999 and is owned outright by the carrier. Now, we'll put the picture on the screen there for those of you watching on YouTube. You can see there the photograph of the aircraft in question on the runway there, surrounded by foam and fire trucks with the emergency slides deployed.
Clean up in aisle 3.
Yeah, definitely a clean up there. And you can just, I have seen some photos actually of this on other news sites of a close up of the engine, and there was a slight bit of fire damage to the engine that will be said.
There's no doubt it caught fire then.
Oh no! But a good outcome, obviously. You know, it's good news that this was sorted out quickly and swiftly by the fire services there with the fire retardant foam and stuff. So a good outcome from that.
Good outcome, absolutely.
And no doubt that aircraft will have a new engine fitted and will be back in the air.
Indeed, well, probably by lunchtime.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, on to the next story. This is the Breaking Travel News website, and the headline is Dear Jet. Who's Dear Jet?
Dear Jet. I'll have to look that up.
Okay, another one for you to look up.
More homework.
More homework, yes. So Dear Jet launches first VVIP Boeing business jet, 787 Dreamliner. So Dear Jet is to become the operator of the world's first VVIP BBJ 787 Dreamliner. Dear Jet and Boeing announced jointly at the European Business Aviation Conference and Exhibition, the largest business aviation event in Europe. This VVIP BBJ 787 is truly a dream jet. It has a range of 16,000 kilometres and can fly non-stop for 17.5 hours at Mach 0.85. Its lower cabin pressure, fresher air, and the 220-metre large cabin area would ensure an extremely comfortable flying experience. At a media event evening held by Boeing Denzil White, president of Dear Jet's subsidiary Hong Kong Jet, said this VVIP BBJ 787 is the most high-end business jet in the world. Becoming its operator shows the strength of Dear Jet's global operations capabilities. Dear Jet currently operates nearly 90 business jets, including 4 BBJs, which means it already has significant experience operating Boeing business jets. The famous tourism brand under HNA Group, that's the CAISSA Touristic, has also entered the high-end custom-tailored tourism market over the last 2 years and has achieved marked success. Zhang Peng, who is the chairman of Dear Jet, said, over the last few years, our strategy of customer experience focus has not only brought us more clients, but also allowed us to raise the standards of service to a new level. Although the 787 BBJ is a brand new model for us, we are fully capable of operating it and granting the best experience to our clients. At the same time, we will work with HNA CAISSA Touristic Group to develop a tailor-made journey using the 787 BBJ so that more people can experience the beauty of high-end customised travel. Zhang Peng added that this 787 Boeing business jet will push us to grow faster. Dear Jet has developed very rapidly over the last few years. It established Dear Jet in Beijing, Deerjet Shanghai, and Hong Kong Jet to optimise its network. It has collaborated with Gulfstream and Dassault Aviation to improve maintenance services. It's also established Honour Aviation support and has opened 8 FBOs across China. In 2015, Deerjet's domestic market share rose to 70% and its international flight hours exceeded 50%.
So Deerjet
Yes.
are kind of a business jet company over in China.
Yeah.
They've got a fleet. Well, they've got some smaller 737 sized business jet BBJs, Boeing business jets. So it's kind of like if you can imagine, Matt, a Ryanair plane, very posh inside with suites and very nice seats and stuff.
Well, the Ryanair plane has leather seats in it. I mean,
they've also got an Airbus business jet as well, an ACJ. They've got a Gulfstream 450, a Hawker 900, and Jetstream 550s. And they're kind of a company you can call up and say, I'd like to hire this or BBJ, Boeing business jet. Yeah. And the 737 they've got has got 2 bedrooms. Can carry up to 26 passengers in quite nice comfort.
26
passengers, yes, in the whole of the aircraft.
In a plane that's the size of a 737?
Yes, this is that one.
26?
Yeah. They've got full HD TVs all through the cabin. Very, very nice lounge seats.
Dave just put in the chat room, nice seat pitch, I hear.
Yeah.
Yes, I can imagine. Yeah.
They've got...
Blimey.
I'm just looking at their website, Deerjet's website, .com. If you go on en.deerjet.com, they've not yet actually posted the facts and figures for the 787 BBJ, but they've got the facts and figures for the 737 BBJ that they've got on offer for their fleet. But they've also, as I said, they've also got the Airbus jet as well, the business jet as well, which has only got 1 bedroom in. But also has all the usual HD TVs. And I mean, the interiors are fantastic, Matt. If you imagine a business jet, but a lot bigger.
Graham just said you were expecting this not to be completely ridiculous, Matt. Yes, I know, but it's just like,
it's one of those luxuries, Matt. You would have to be incredibly rich to be able to use.
Absolutely, it just sounds wonderful, just to have sort of basically basically a minibus, equivalent, but like in a full size coach, like in my one. I mean, it just sounds wonderful.
Oh, it good.
Does, yeah. I'm being mocked, by the way. For
I know.
shirt.
I can see that in the chat room.
Yeah.
I know.
As you do.
Next story is on Reuters' website, and the headline: Airport screening made 70,000 miss American Airlines flights this year. So airport screening delays have caused more than 70,000 American Airlines customers and 40,000 checked bags to miss their flights this year, an executive for the airline told a U.S. congressional subcommittee on Thursday. The shortage of staff, a surge in air travelers, have created a nightmare scenario for the U.S. Transportation Security Administration, or the TSA. Indeed. With airport wait times in places like Chicago stretching beyond 2 hours, while the TSA is taking steps to shorten lines such as hiring more full-time officers, it lacks the staffing to handle peak travelling times in the summer. Administrator Peter Neffinger said on Wednesday. American, the world's largest airline, wants the TSA to create a senior internal role focused on the travel concerns, said American Airlines Group Incorporated Senior Vice President for Customer Experience, Kerry Filipovich. The request comes days after Neffinger shook up the TSA's management, removing the head of security operations, Kelly Hogan. Filipovich also recommended that the TSA consider reinstating a risk-based screening program that it cancelled last year because of high-profile lapses. In the program, the officers trained to detect irregular behaviour would pull unsuspicious travellers randomly in pre-checked lanes that can process people faster as they do not remove their shoes and belongings. The TSA has projected it will screen 740 million people at US airports this year, some 15% more than in 2013, despite a 12% cut in staff. Also, always one of these things, Matt. If you've got a massive place such as America with handling this many hundreds of thousands of packages per day, and then you cut staff.
And it's
It's going to cause queues.
to a halt.
Yeah, it's going to
yeah.
cause issues.
Yeah.
I mean, for things such as security and stuff in airports, you'd want them to employ more staff. I think.
Well, I probably missed the plot a bit, but like with Stansted, isn't it, where they've recently spent all that money on making a much bigger departure, security area, if you see what I mean, and then not be allowed to take on the staff required to man it.
Yeah.
So
we said about that, didn't we? About the passport.
Absolutely.
Things.
So you can't you've got all these wonderful facilities and these thousands of lanes that they never have open because they can never they're not allowed to employ enough staff to sort of run each lane. It's just crazy, really, isn't it? I don't know. They need to do something about it, don't they?
So next story
Indeed,
is Matt, and Matt actually done a bit of groundwork.
I've done a bit of homework with this, but we'll read the story
and
and we'll come back. And it's the Breaking Travel News is the website, and the headline is Norwegian launches low-cost flights to Las Vegas from Gatwick, which is great news now. Norwegian is continuing the expansion of its low-cost long-haul network by launching a new direct route to the bright lights of Las Vegas from London Gatwick. The twice-weekly flights will launch from London Gatwick on the 31st of October on the airline's brand new Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner aircraft, which will feature 2 cabins, premium and economy. The service will depart Gatwick for Las Vegas International Airport on Monday and Thursday, perfect for a weekend break in the City of Lights. Norwegian Chief Commercial Officer Thomas Ramdahl said that Las Vegas is a fantastic addition to our growing transatlantic network from the UK. Viva low cost, Viva Las Vegas. Norwegian is bringing more competition to the UK market, which is a win-win for customers by creating more choice and affordable fares for all. We will continue to provide Brits with low cost and easier access to more parts of the US while offering a high-quality service in the newest aircraft. We look forward to adding Las Vegas to our network from London Gatwick. Norwegian is the only airline to offer UK passengers direct low-cost flights to the US and the Caribbean. Las Vegas will become Norwegian's 8th US route, with flights currently operating from London Gatwick to New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Boston, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, and Puerto Rico. Norwegian has put on sale a record 425,000 transatlantic seats from Gatwick this summer as the airline continues to introduce brand new, larger Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner aircraft that offer 344 seats. Now, what was rather interesting...
Matt's got some interesting info.
I looked at these flights because the thing I said to Carl when we were reading these stories out before the show started, I said I'm always very, very sceptical when they don't give you prices.
So for those of you in the UK who are listening, Matt has done some delving.
I have indeed. As I say, because I was a bit suspicious because we weren't getting sort of any figures. Now I think we should. I think it's an average cost to go from London to Las Vegas, Carlos. Now, I know you went recently.
Yeah, I went recently.
And how much was that?
So we flew...
Let's base on a return flight.
Return flight,
if we're doing a return flight.
So the return flights that we went to Vegas on from London Gatwick to Las Vegas, just for a week, flying out on a... Oh, what did we fly out on a Saturday? Did we fly out on a Saturday? Or was it a Sunday? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, I think it was a Saturday we flew out on. So we flew out on a Saturday for a week from Vegas with Virgin. Virgin
so
Atlantic.
A good airline, at least.
Yeah, very good airline. And the flights came in around about £1,200 return.
Wow.
And that was an economy.
That was for 2 people.
That was for 2 people.
So
600 quid each.
Yeah, so basically 600
quid each.
Right now, okay. So I went on this morning to Norwegian's website.
He did.
Now I'm going. Not that I am
theoretically.
Theoretically, as I'm thinking, how lovely because it's the 10th anniversary of my 30th birthday in November, and I thought, how lovely would it be to go to Las Vegas to, for my 10th anniversary of my 30th, and so I just put the dates in, and I was a little bit shocked. In fact, I gasped, didn't I, when I was telling you?
Matt got his wallet out and immediately booked.
I did, yeah. Well, if there had been this figure in my bank account, I would have done exactly that this morning. So basically, I looked at because my birthday's on the 29th as an example, so I looked to see what it would cost to fly out so that I could have basically Tuesday, the 29th of November, out in Las Vegas. So I looked at it, thought I'd just do the Monday to the Thursday, just as a way of sort of just working out my flight. Basically, fly out on the Monday, so Monday the 28th, is 179 UK pounds sterling.
That's 179.
179.
Pounds.
And then coming back on the Thursday, because they only do 2 flights a week, was £151.30. So I could do a return flight from London Gatwick to Las Vegas for £330.30.
330 quid.
330.
So in US
return,
dollars, for our US listeners, that's at the moment, that works out about $482.
That's ridiculous.
For a return flight from the UK to Las Vegas.
I mean, that is just... I mean, as I say, I was sceptical at the fact that there weren't any prices on the site, and it was just... Graham says, are we doing a PTUK
trip to Vegas?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, that sounds lovely. Yeah. Yes, yes. Thank you, Jacob. Yes, I can't say the number that you've written up there. It's not real yet. Yes, it is. Yes, I'm afraid I've been doing that most of the year, haven't I? It's the 10th anniversary of my 30th. That's the best way to
But
describe
how cheap is that?
It's
Honestly,
ridiculous
that is
money.
ridiculously cheap.
I can't get over how cheap that is. Seriously, I can't believe how cheap it is.
They're offering premium and standard economy on that flight.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to find out how much it would cost to go in a premium economy.
At £330 return, I wouldn't care if I was sat in the luggage bay underneath, frankly. I can't get over how cheap it is.
But they're using their new Dash 9 on that route, the Dreamliner, so that'd be awesome.
This is it. This is what I can't... Yeah. I mean, it's not even a crappy aircraft. I mean, it's just... No. I mean, I really, really hope that they can make it really work, because I mean, this is an amazing way. I mean, it makes it very affordable for humble people like me.
At that price, I'd be surprised if they can't fill the aircraft. Very surprised.
I mean, something's very wrong if they can't fill it at those prices, really.
So next story, following on from that, on breaking travel news site, and headline again: Norwegian adds 2 new Boeing 787-9s to their fleet. Norwegian has signed an agreement to lease 2 new 787-9 Dreamliners to be delivered in spring 2018. With the new agreement, the company's long-haul fleet will consist of 42 Dreamliners by 2020. Norwegian also exercises 8 of its 100 Boeing 737 MAX 8 purchase options. Norwegian continues to expand its long-haul fleet and international presence by signing an agreement with CIT Aerospace to lease 2 new Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner aircraft. Norwegian Chief Executive Bjorn Kjos said, in order to offer customers more routes and make our intercontinental operation more competitive, we need more brand new cost-efficient aircraft. Our intercontinental operation is crucial to the company's global growth and creation of new jobs. The Dreamliner is a great aeroplane with high passenger comfort, long range, low fuel burn, and reduced emissions. Norwegian currently operates 8 787-8 Dreamliners and 2 787-9 Dreamliners. The company's long-haul fleet will consist of 42 Dreamliners by 2020. Wow. In 2015, Norwegian was voted the most fuel-efficient transatlantic airline by renowned International Council on Clean Transportation.
Wow, very good.
So there we go. I mean, Norwegian, we seriously need to fly Norwegian.
Yeah, it's definitely one to watch, isn't it? I mean, they could be a sort of like
for anyone listening,
a less unpleasant version of Ryanair, essentially.
For anyone listening from Norwegian Airlines, me and Matt would love to fly the first flight to Vegas to let all our listeners know how good it is.
How amazing is it? Call it my birthday present.
Call it Matt's 40th birthday, and mine's in August as well.
My what?
The 30th. 30th thingy of the birthday year.
It did. Yeah, yours is
So-
in August, isn't it?
You
actually turned that magical number first, don't you?
Yeah. Anyway, moving on swiftly
Yeah,
to
sorry.
the last story.
The last story in the commercial section. This again is the Breaking Travel News website. The headline is Delta Airlines launches year-round Edinburgh to New York flight. That's quite exciting. Delta Airlines will launch its new non-stop flight between Edinburgh and New York's JFK airports today, offering more onward connections and onboard amenities than any other airline serving this route. The new service extends Delta's UK network into Scotland and will operate year-round, offering customers a choice of 60 onward connections throughout the US, including popular destinations such as Los Angeles, Orlando and San Francisco. We're looking forward to launching the service to Scotland, offering extensive travel options throughout the US for customers in the Edinburgh area, as well as bringing thousands more American visitors to Scotland, said Frank, who he was the Delta Vice President of Sales for Europe, Middle East and Africa. Plus, as the only year-round non-stop flight between Edinburgh and New York JFK, we are confident that the route will expand trade and tourism opportunities. Visit Scotland statistics estimate that the new flight has the potential to bring an additional £23 million to the Scottish tourism industry in 1 year alone. The United States is the number one inbound tourism market to Scotland, with nearly 500,000 visitors in 2014, an increase of 100,000 compared to the previous year. Scottish Government data also reports that overall tourism expenditure in the country stood at around £9.7 billion in 2014. Malcolm Ruffhead, who is the chief executive at Visit Scotland, said Scottish tourism punches above its weight on the world stage, and this new Delta Airlines service from New York to Edinburgh will be another fantastic boost, strengthening our connectivity in the North American market by unlocking Delta's vast internal network. The USA is our biggest global market, and a diaspora, diaspora, I don't even know what that is, a diaspora stronghold, and with visitors spending an average of almost £900 per trip, the flights have the potential to bring an incredible £23 million to the economy. Our history and heritage is a huge appeal for US visitors, and so it's appropriate that passengers will begin their exploration of the spirit of Scotland just a stone's throw from the majestic Edinburgh Castle. Now, to be fair, I recently visited Scotland with Mother, as you know, and I have to say it is a country that I have literally fallen in love with. It is stunning part of the world, and we shall be going back there in our caravan very soon.
Oh, well done.
Indeed,
in your caravan.
In my caravan, yes, absolutely. Indeed.
We did a message actually sent to us via Facebook earlier on today, and it was a bit of a sad news actually. I'll just sort of leave this till the end, but it was actually happened yesterday, and it was on the ABC News website, and the headline was a small World War II era plane crashed in the Hudson River. The small World War II vintage aircraft, taking part in celebrations of its 75th anniversary, flew a partial loop while smoke spewed from it and then crashed into the Hudson River between the New York and New Jersey on Friday. Divers recovered the body from the wreckage of a 56-year-old pilot who was on board the aircraft. Sad news indeed. It was a P-47 Thunderbolt that crashed yesterday at 7:30 p.m. around 7:30 p.m. In US time yesterday. Sad news indeed. Obviously, it's always a shame to hear of such bad news coming about from old vintage aircraft like this, and obviously the loss of the pilot as well.
Yeah,
it's very sad news indeed.
Thoughts go out to his family, obviously, from all of us here.
Yeah, there's not a lot of news about that. It was kind of sort of breaking news last night on here, but the crash. It was. I don't know what the celebrations were. It was 75th anniversary celebrations for something in the US. The story doesn't really say an awful lot here. But no, sad news. But hopefully they'll get to the bottom of what caused that crash, and they'll obviously recover the wreckage from the Hudson as well. So we'll finish the commercial news segment there. And we have got, as Matt said earlier, we've got a segment from Pip.
We have, yeah.
And we have, we've got a segment from Pip and a bit of military news as well.
Indeed, yes. But for the moment, at least, we should just take a very, very short break. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Find this and other great shows at the Aviation Media Network.
thevoicesinyourhead.com.
The Plain Talking UK podcast is a voluntary project that aims to keep you informed with the latest aviation-related stories from newswires across the globe.
Producing our content does cost money though. If you enjoy our show, why not help us keep on the air by making a donation towards the server and website hosting fees through PayPal. Any contributions would be greatly appreciated.
Are you an Amazon user? If so, why not do your shopping through the link on our website? There's no cost to yourself and Amazon pay us a small referral fee on qualifying purchases.
To find out more about the show and to meet the team, take yourself to our website www.plaintalkinguk.com
or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/plaintalkinguk, on Twitter via @plaintalkinguk, or get in touch via email on podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. Thanks for listening.
Aviation media has long been the domain of the newspapers and magazines.
Well, not anymore. I'm Steve Vischer.
And I'm Grant McCarran, and we're bringing aviation right into your radio.
Yes, we're making aviation cool and interesting for everyone.
Hang on, aviation's always been cool. Check this out. How cool is this?
Grant, turn that down. Here at Plane Crazy Down Under, we've got pilots, engineers, air traffic controllers, industry leaders, even politicians dropping by to talk to us about the amazing world of aviation right here in Australia and occasionally in New Zealand as well.
Wow, that's cooler than I thought, mate.
Find us at planecrazydownunder.com, on iTunes, or lurking about on other people's podcasts just like this one.
We've got crazy accents and lots of great aviation content.
And we promise not to talk about the cricket.
No, never. Not the cricket. Quack, 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 quack. What is cricket anyhow?
Something we win a lot. Oh, there we go.
Oh!
And we're back.
We certainly are.
Hello,
yes,
everyone.
Absolutely.
Hello, and we've got some
chat
more.
room's gone
The
crazy.
chat room's
Yeah.
gone crazy. Loads of people have just popped in the chat room. Good morning, good morning to the main man. That is Micah.
Ah, the legend.
Evan Shue has popped in the chat room as well. Good morning to you.
Neville has just said, that's what she said.
Oh, hold on.
Trying
There
to
we
keep you
go.
on your toes now, yes, absolutely. Strong coffee is clearly
Strong
the way
coffee,
forward.
strong
yes,
coffee.
absolutely.
So, what have we got coming up for you now then,
Well,
Matt?
it's very, very exciting because it is. He had a week off last week, but the legend that is Pilot Pip returns for his segment. And I believe you set him this homework, did you not?
Yeah, I set Pip some homework. We were going to play this segment for you last week, but we had a few editing bits and pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we thought we'd save it for you for this week. But I
absolutely.
did set Pip some homework, and he came good with what I asked him. It's a subject I think that is on a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And essentially, it's basically along the lines of what happens in the event of a pilot being incapacitated during his flight.
Plane safety from the flight deck with Pilot Pip.
Hello everyone out there in Plain Talking UK land, it's Pip here with another Safety from the Flight Deck segment. And in this little segment we're looking at pilot incapacitation. What happens when a pilot becomes incapacitated through illness or some environmental factor. Now luckily this doesn't happen very often, but I suppose occasionally people, just due to the frailties of being human, people fall ill, heart attacks and strokes, but there are other forms of incapacitation, not just getting ill. Hypoxia, for instance, springs instantly to mind, lack of oxygen. But before we look at what we do when it does happen, we do have a couple of defences to help us recognise when it's about to happen. And one of those would be following our SOPs, our standard operating procedures, which includes something called the two communication rule. So there are certain calls we make, certain checks, which need to have a verbal response. So, for instance, I'm thinking one of the first ones that we use on the takeoff roll, safe jets, for instance, on the takeoff roll, we have a call at 80 knots. So the pilot monitoring checks the airspeed on both ASIs, and as it passes 80 knots, he calls 80 knots, and the pilot flying, who will be, or the handling pilot, who will be eyes outside the aircraft at this point, calls check. And the purpose of this 80 knots call, well, it's a couple of reasons. One of them is to check that both ASIs are both alive and in sync. They're both passing 80 knots at the same point. But it's also an incapacitation check. We're checking that the pilot flying is still alive. Now, it's extremely unlikely that in the few seconds between having set the power, which he also checked, and 80 knots, that he's died or fallen unconscious or something, but it is a useful check at a critical stage of flight just before we're going to get airborne. So at 80 knots, he calls 80 knots, and the response should be check. If he doesn't get a response, then the procedure is to call 80 knots again, to repeat the call, but in a more positive tone. So 80 knots. Again, if he doesn't get a response, if he doesn't get a check, then the pilot monitoring is supposed to take control of the aircraft at that point. And at that 80 knots, we're still in the sort of low speed regime, he would more than likely bring the aircraft to a stop. In reality, what you do if you didn't get a response, you'd probably look across at your colleague and give him a poke, perhaps, and if he's quite obviously dead, then you'll take control and stop the aircraft. If he's just got his mind elsewhere, then perhaps you might continue. But that would be an example of the two communication rule. But that concept goes for a lot of other calls as well. So we usually, when we make these standard procedure calls, we expect a response from the other pilot. And it's just a way of, A, confirming that the loop has been closed, that the action and the process has been followed and completed, but it's also a good incapacitation check. But what do we do when it does happen? Now, as I say, it's pretty rare, but I'm sure we've all seen that classic documentary Airplane, and we know the rule: you don't eat the fish. But if you do eat the fish and you get some bad bout of food poisoning or something worse, you have a stroke or a heart attack or something, well, it's not the end of the world. It can be stressful, of course, and it could be an emergency situation, but depending on the severity, it's not going to be something beyond the capabilities of the remaining pilot to handle, or at least I hope not. Of course, transport aircraft are designed with two pilots in mind. They're operated as two pilot crews. It needs two pilots to fly them. That doesn't mean, however, that you can't fly them on your own. Perfectly feasible to fly an aircraft on your own. I mean, part of the reason we have two pilots in the cockpit, amongst other things, is two minds are better than one. You know, two minds working on the same problem, you're less likely to make mistakes, or you're more likely to catch mistakes that the other guy has made. So that's part of the reason why we fly with two people. But that's not to say it's not entirely possible to fly the aircraft on your own as a single pilot. And it's something we do practice in the simulators every so often. We practice pilot incapacitations at various points in the flight. So once you've recognized that your crew member, the captain or the first officer, has become incapacitated, you're probably going to want to start thinking about diverting somewhere. If he's had a heart attack or a stroke or something, you want to get on the ground as quickly as possible. So you're going to possibly declare a mayday, request a diversion to a nearest suitable airfield, and you're probably going to also request that emergency medical services will be there waiting for your arrival. Now, there have been some cases where this has happened, that the pilot has requested for additional help on the flight deck, so perhaps an off-duty pilot or someone with flying experience who's sat in the back as a passenger, or possibly one of the flight attendants. They might ask them to come up and help, perhaps help making radio calls or reading checklists. Personally, and this is purely me, this is just my opinion, for me that would be more trouble than it's worth. I think I would rather just handle the flight on my own from that point. I'm familiar enough with my aircraft and how it works to be able to comfortably handle it on my own. But perhaps I could imagine a situation where that may not be the case. Perhaps a new inexperienced pilot, or a pilot new to the type, if there's another pilot or someone with flight experience down the back, then I suppose they could be of some use. That would be a judgment call, I think. But probably the key thing when you're down to one pilot, when you're flying on your own, would be to not rush. it would probably be quite tempting to want to get on the ground as quickly as possible to fly some super fast approach and be the hero and save your buddy's life, get him to a hospital as soon as possible. But of course, you've still got many people in the back whose safety you need to consider. So for me personally, I would make an effort not to rush, and I would be very deliberate about what I'm doing. So for instance, with checklists, I would be very thorough with the checklist. In fact, what I do when we practice it in the sim, I go through the checklist and I read it out aloud to myself. And I sound a bit like a robot, but I'll go through and I'll each item, accomplish the item and say out loud to myself, check. I would probably even do the same thing with an arrival briefing. I would read it out loud as though I were giving the briefing to my colleague. I would do exactly as I do normally with two people. Give a full and thorough arrival briefing so I know exactly what I'm doing and I'm not going to miss anything. Now, if you do choose to have someone come up and help you on the flight deck, perhaps one of the flight attendants, then we do have procedures for that. We have some of the flight attendants will be familiar with the procedure where they can use and read the checklists for us, and they will be familiar will receive training in the use of checklists, not necessarily the technicalities behind them, the why we do them or how the aircraft systems work, but they'll be familiar with the concept of reading a checklist, reading the item, waiting for the pilot to action the item and to confirm that's been done. And we also have some hand signals that we might want to employ, perhaps if we're busy on the radio, or perhaps if the remaining pilot's wearing an oxygen mask. It's very difficult to verbally communicate when you're wearing an oxygen mask, so the use of hand signals might become appropriate. So, for instance, a thumbs up fairly obviously means read the checklist or continue with a checklist. A closed fist held up by the pilot means stop the checklist. And then following that, another thumbs up means continue with the checklist. And then just to finish up, a quick word about recognizing incapacitation. Now, if your colleague has a violent heart attack and quite obviously dies next to you, well, then that's very obvious. But more often than not, incapacitation will be quite a subtle thing. It may not be obvious what's happening, or it may not happen very quickly at all. It might be quite a slow process. So, for instance, something like hypoxia, which more than likely would affect both pilots, but hypoxia is quite an insidious process. It creeps up on you quite slowly, and it's quite hard to recognize. It may not be obvious at all what's happening, so it's important to be on the lookout for warning signs. Perhaps you notice your colleague is becoming maybe a little bit confused, or maybe they're making some sloppy decisions, saying some odd things. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you notice that they're going to the bathroom rather a lot. There could be all kinds of little giveaway telltale signs that your colleague is suffering. And it may get to the point where you have to say to your colleague, are you okay to continue? Do you need to declare yourself unfit? Do we need to get a flight attendant up here with the first aid kit? What can we do for you? But as I say, if and when it does happen, it's not a panic situation. The aircraft's certainly not going to fall out of the sky, and hopefully the remaining pilot will be well capable of handling the aircraft all on his own. So for now, that's the end of this little segment. I'll hopefully be back next week with something else. Until then, take care everyone and fly safe. Bye.
And a massive thank you to the pilot, that is Pip.
The legend
that is Pip, for his segment. Thank you very much, Pip. We really do appreciate it.
Ironically, it sort of put my mind at rest, really. I mean, as you say, you always assume because you need a pilot and a co-pilot that you need like both in order to sort of function. But as he was saying there, I mean, you could more or less do it on your own. Also, I'm kind of with Pip, actually. It's like, do you know what? Actually, I don't want a member of the flight crew trying to help me. I'll manage. Thanks. Do you know what I mean? Because I suppose they're two different disciplines, aren't they? Unless they've got sort of flying background and stuff, perhaps.
My hand would be the first one up. I'd quite happily.
Yes. I'm not sure that flying around in your little Cessna will help you a great deal when it comes to.
I know. But don't forget, you can find Pip over on his show at the Plane Safety Podcast. Pip's latest episode was number 28. And that was his London Marathon podcast that he done whilst he done the London Marathon.
Indeed, as you do,
which is an amazing episode because he kind of got through the alphabet of different safety issues while he was doing the London Marathon. But no, thanks very much for that, Pip. Indeed. As always, hopefully we'll have another segment for you next week from the legend that is Pilot Pip.
And on that subject, actually, if there's any subject matter regarding plane safety that you think might be an ideal topic for Pip to sort of look up for us and do a segment for, if you've got any ideas about the sort of things that we might be able to set him as homework that you'd like to know about, then do please email us to the usual place. It is podcast@planetalkinguk.com. And hello, he's laughing. What's happened?
Oh, everyone's just appreciating the fact that you have man flu.
I don't have man flu. I'm out of bed. I can't. Man flu is incapacitating. On the subject of incapacitating pilots, I've got incapacitated podcast hosts. Yes, absolutely. But I'm out of bed. It's fine. It's not man flu. I promise it's not man flu. I sound worse than I actually am. It has to be said. But yes, anyway, as you were back on the task.
At hand. Indeed. So the chat rooms filled up a bit more since we've been going as well.
Sorry, the brain's gone. No, you're right. We're running a little thing. We're asking what your favourite airline is at the moment, aren't we?
Yes,
and,
yes,
we're going to run that for another week. So if you haven't done so already, so exactly what are we asking?
So what we're asking then to all our listeners, for those of you who haven't already, because we have had quite a few emails in from some of the listeners, what we're asking is what is your favourite airline? So the favourite airline that you have flown on and you absolutely love. Matt's just showing us the mugs there.
And Mike has said that the cure was antihistamines and a good brew. You see, well, I have in my hand a good brew.
So, what is your favourite airline, and your reason why? So, obviously, for Matt, his favourite airline would be Ryanair. Why? Would be because of the hot paninis.
Right.
Okay. So that
indeed.
So for your answers, if you could email your answers
real answers,
into
please. Yes, it is as the usual place. It's podcast@playtalkinguk.com. Feel free to tweet it to us if you wish, which would be just use our Twitter handle. So include @playtalkinguk, and then we'll get the message. But yes, so get those in, please, because we want to try and compile the top 10, if you like, for next week.
So get those in. Indeed. So we have got some military news.
Yes, it is a mug of Earl Grey, by the way. Obviously, it has to be nothing else. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Micah. That's what she said. See,
sorry.
He doesn't respond anywhere near fast enough, does he? We've got to try and keep him.
I'm catching your cold, that's why.
Hey, indeed. Anyway, it's time then to do the military.
So let's have some military news. Are you ready, Mr.
Yes,
Mr. Caravan Man? Okay, let's go.
Hey.
As Matt blows his nose, Will's doing.
So sorry, I'm
lovely.
Sorry.
So the first military news story on Flight Global's site headline: Royal Air Force Voyager begins F-35B refueling certification. So we do have a tanker story. This is getting like the airplane geeks now. We have a tanker story every week, near enough. The Royal Air Force's Airbus A330 Voyager will become the fourth non-US aerial refueling tanker to be certified to fill up the Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II, following recent tests with an F-35B at the Naval Air Station Oh, blimey. Patuxent
I'm reading
River.
the chat room. I need to stop reading the chat room.
In Maryland.
It's distracting.
He's reading the chat room.
We've got elephants in the studio, by the way.
Have we?
Apparently, yes.
The,
Micah thinks we've got elephants in the studio.
Oh, I know. The Voyager, a modified A330-200 airliner designated to KC-30, has already, I'm turning Matt's mic down now, has performed 5 of 20 planned test flights, with the final one expected by mid-June to achieve the F-35 tanking certification. The Royal Australian Air Force's own version of the multi-role tanker transport, the MRTT, the KC-30A, completed its F-35A refuelling trials at Edwards Air Force Base in California in late 2015. An Italian Air Force KC-767A was the first tanker not owned and operated by the US military to receive F-35 certification. It went on to support the first transatlantic crossing of the Lightning II in February this year. A Dutch KDC-10 completed its first F-35 refuelling on the March the 31st and is now helping early model Royal Netherlands Air Force F-35s fly home for a demonstration tour to drum up support with 37 fighter jets on order. Now, the KDC-10 is the refueling tanker that me and Matt and Pip went on board last year at Riyadh. That was a big three-engined aircraft that we managed to leave most of our photography equipment on.
Indeed,
while
yes,
we were at the show. But no, it's a great news for the Royal Air Force. We've got a picture there. If Matt can put that on the screen of the 330 MRTT refueling the F-35. There we go. For those of you in the YouTube chat room, a lovely picture there of that refueling going on there. Awesome. We hope to see the F-35s at Riyadh and hopefully Farnborough this year. That'll be good. To see those there finally after the years of waiting. Next story is for Matt. It's a picture story.
It is, all right. Okay, this will keep me busy then. Okay, so the next story is this is Flight Global again, and the headline is pictures. So this is the Royal RAAF. What is it? The Royal Australian Air Force. There we go. Sorry, the Royal Australian Air Force's first P-8A conducts maiden flight.
Poseidon.
So the first Poseidon. So the first Boeing P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft due for the Royal Australian Air Force (RAAF) has completed its maiden sortie. So the aircraft, which is based on the 737 commercial airliner, flew from Boeing's Renton production facility to nearby Boeing Field, says the RAAF in a statement. Now, this is quite a nice picture, actually. I quite like this. I'm going to bring that one up while we're doing this. As with the P-8s operated by the US Navy and the P-8I Neptunes operated by the Indian Navy, the aircraft's mission system will be installed at Boeing's Field. It will fly to Australia in late 2016. Canberra ordered 8 P-8s under the Air 7000 program. It has options for 4 additional examples. The type will replace the RAAF's fleet of Lockheed. No, Lockheeds are being replaced. Martin P3 aircraft. Flight Global's fleet analyzer shows that the RAAF operates 15 P-3Cs, the average age of which is 33.5 years.
There we go. Matt's put the pictures on the
Canberra
screen.
also intends to... So it's not very easy for me to do a picture story and read it.
I know. Challenging.
Indeed. Yeah, so Canberra also intends to obtain the Northrop Grumman MQ-4C Triton unmanned air vehicle to complement the new type. Thanks
Lovely
for that.
pictures. Yeah. That's okay. I like to challenge you with the
mashing
shows.
the keypad, trying to make
good,
it all go. Yeah, absolutely.
But no, always interesting. Do you like that, Matt? To see the
I
Poseidon
do.
there
Yeah,
with no windows.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring
no
that
windows.
one up. Yeah,
there we go.
Here we go.
All...
No, I can't get it. Try that. There we go. I can't make it work. There we go. Yes, no, it's good, isn't it? Yes, it's very. I suppose from up in the sky, it wouldn't look very differently.
No. It looks exactly the same from underneath, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not
two engine, obviously, for fuel economy.
Fuel economy,
etc.
Yes,
absolutely.
Very good.
Yes.
Next story, moving on Flight Global site, and the USAF picks Coulson Aviation to outfit the HC-130H's Hercules for firefighting. So the US Air Force has picked the Coulson Aviation USA retardant aerial delivery systems to outfit 7 former Coast Guard Lockheed Martin HC-130H search and rescue turboprops as firefighting assets for the Forestry Service. The 15,000-litre or 4,000-gallon system that can jettison 6,000 litres or 1,600 gallons of retardant per second was chosen over other types like the Modular Airborne Firefighting System, MAFFS, which is already used by the Air National Guard and Reserve. The C-130s support the wildfire mission. which have had problems with in Canada. I think they've had some pretty serious wildfires, haven't they, over there? The selection of Canada's Coulson Group to deliver firefighting system for the HC-130H platforms concludes a long-running contract process that began in July 2014 and entered source selection 1 year ago with the release of the final statement of work in 2015. Under a congressionally mandated plane swap deal, the Forestry Service is receiving second-hand Coast Guard aircraft in exchange for the USAF transferring 14 of 21 Alina C-27J Spartan airlifters, which it retired upon delivery in 2013 to the Homeland Security Service. A congressional directive in the fiscal year 2014 National Defense Authorization Act called on for the Air Force to modify the former Coast Guard aircraft on behalf of the Forestry Service, which it has a minuscule aviation budget compared to the military. The C-27Js would then augment the Coast Guard's Airbus Defence and Space CN-235-based HC-144 Ocean Sentry in the medium-range surveillance role. The $16.4 million contract to design, manufacturing and install the HC-130H retardant delivery system was awarded to Coulson Aviation on the 18th of May via the contracting office at Robins Air Force Base, Georgia. The statement of work called for the installation of 7 13,200-litre or 3,500-gallon systems, including 1 trial kit, 1 verification kit and 3 production units and 2 option units under a 4-year period. Wayne Coulson, Chief Executive President of Coulson Aviation, explains in a company statement that the RADS XXL retardant delivery system was developed in 2012 for installation on the company's for-hire C-130H Firebomber that supported summer firefighting operations in Australia and is now on contract with the US government. I mean, pop a picture on the screen there.
Pop that one up. I did the one previously.
There we go. Of this in action.
That looks amazing.
Dumping fire retardant there. Obviously, these are a really important part of firefighting services. Something we don't see an awful lot in the UK. I don't think we have it.
Well, I think we're lucky that we don't get the rampant fires. And
yeah,
things. It's not hot enough here. That's why we don't get the extreme sun like they do in Australia, especially. I mean, they've had terrible trouble, haven't they? This last couple of years. Yeah, it's very. I've just been picked up on my pronunciation again.
Pronunciation.
Yes, absolutely. Because I've been pronouncing it incorrectly. Because it should be
Canberra.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is it. Should be Canberra, not Canberra, which I keep doing. A bit like Farnborough and
Well, as we always say, this is why we have a chat.
We do indeed, yes, because they can correct me on all the things that I keep getting ruined. Yes.
Are you ready for the last story?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last story then on the Royal Air Force's website.
Indeed, yes. So the last story, and this is moving, so I can't read it. Hang on.
There we go.
So the headline is Classic Jet Showcase at RAF Cosford Air Show. Organisers at the RAF Cosford Air Show outlined plans for their theme showcasing the evolution of the jet engine, which will dominate the flying displays on Sunday the 19th of June. The latest aircraft will be added the latest aircraft to be added to the flying display is a Folland Gnat, which is used by the RAF during the 1960s and 1970s for flying training and also for air displays by the world's famous Red Arrows. The Gnat display, they don't use the Gnat now, do they?
No, the Folland Gnat, no, that's what they originally had.
Originally what they had, wasn't it? Yes. So the Gnat display team will be joined at the show by the Sea Vixen, a unique carrier-borne fighter, of which... sorry, the mouse keeps moving, Carlos. I don't know what you keep doing, but...
Sorry, that's... I thought I'd switched it off.
Yeah,
there we go.
Anyway, sorry. Yes, another jet appearing at the show is the Mikoyan Gurevich MiG-15 UTI, a type never seen before at RAF Cosford. The MiG-15 is a Cold War Soviet fighter, which is now operated by the Norwegian Air Force Historical Squadron to showcase the Cold War enemy of NATO. The MiG-15 is believed to have been one of the most widely produced jet aircraft ever made. In excess of 12,000 were manufactured. Of course, the Royal Air Force's main combat jet, the Eurofighter Typhoon, will also be displaying as part of the jet engine theme to showcase the power and agility of the modern combat jets of today. Peter Rioch, who is part of the airshow operations team, said, "Classic jets are always a crowd favourite, and we're excited to have such a diverse array of them taking part in the flying display this year. With these exciting additions, we're reminding people that tickets for the airshow will not be available to buy on the gate, so they need to buy them soon to avoid missing out." The speed theme continues on the ground, with rare experimental aircraft being rolled out from the RAF Museum to join the static aircraft exhibitions, including the Bristol 188, the Avro 707, and the Fairy?
Fairy, yes.
Fairy Delta 2, which held the world airspeed record for a short time in 1956. There will also be an aircraft hangar dedicated to speed displays, including an exhibition of jet engines and displays detailing the life of Sir Frank Whittle, the British inventor of the jet engine. Tickets for RAF Cosford Airshow are available to purchase from selected mid-counties co-ops, the RAF Museum at RAF Cosford, and Hendon Midlands Air Museum in Coventry, and on our website www.cosfordairshow.co.uk. Tickets are £25 per adult, with accompanied children under 16 entering free.
Awesome.
Indeed.
So I'm just in the chat room at the moment.
Yes, yeah. It looks like a good story, actually.
A good air show as well, the RAF Cosford Air Show. One I haven't been to before yet.
When did it say it was?
RAF Classic Jets Day is on the June. It's the 19th of June.
Yeah, okay. It's in that magical 3 months that I can't book holiday. They're great.
I know. But also, don't forget as well, for those of you guys who are going to Bruntingthorpe tomorrow, as we said at the beginning of the show, unfortunately, due to Matt
yes, all right,
working,
okay,
we won't be able to make it to.
Which
to
I am gutted
tomorrow.
about, because we were really looking forward to going to that, but. Yeah, you were, especially because of the TriStars.
Yeah, I know, but we will be going there. We will be definitely going there at some point this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's it for the military bits and pieces. Don't forget, we have also got hopefully a guest coming on the show next week.
Yeah,
and we are going to record on Friday next week. Which will be Friday it'll be the 3rd.
Yes.
Friday the 3rd of June.
Indeed.
So we're recording for that. So where can people who don't know find us,
indeed.
Matt?
No, fair point. Yes, so to get in touch with the show, you can email us. We're on podcast@planetalkinguk.com. The website is www.planetalkinguk.com. You can get in touch with us via Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @planetalkinguk, and facebook.com/Plain Talking UK is how you get to our page on Facebook. Don't forget the legend that is Pilot Pip, who we had a segment from earlier. He's also got a fantastic website and a fantastic show. If you haven't listened to it already, please make sure you do so. You can download that from www.planesafetypodcast.com.
And thank you for, as always, thanks to all the patrons and donators that we've had to the show.
Oh, yes.
And we really do appreciate that. And all the links to the Patreon and donations is on the our homepage on our website, Plain Talking UK.
Indeed. Okay, so that's where we bring episode number 114 to a close. Everybody brace themselves for what I can only describe as a double header, as the APG are recording very, very shortly.
Very shortly.
Couple of hours time.
Couple of hours time, yeah.
UK time. So those who need to go and have some sleep now. Thank you for joining us in the chat room. Nice and busy.
Thanks for everyone for joining us in the chat room. And as we said, don't forget we are going to be recording.
Yes. So next Friday,
the
3rd of June.
The 3rd of June this
and
week.
we go live at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Which will be 8 p.m. No, it won't. It'll be 6 p.m.
It'll be 6 p.m. UTC,
time,
which is 7 p.m. UK time.
British
But we'll
time.
be live a bit before that with the usual pre-show banter.
Shenanigans. Yes, absolutely. So that's it. That is the end of the show from both of us here in the studio. It is a very, very exciting goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.